Life is a big school. We all have to learn.
The final challenge assigned to Hercules by Eurystheus was to steal the golden apples of the Hesperides. The golden apples from this tree originally belonged to Gaia, the great goddess of the earth and mother of all creatures. Gaia gave the golden apple tree as a gift to the goddess Hera to celebrate her wedding to Zeus, the king of the gods. Hera was overjoyed with the precious gift and planted the apple tree in her garden, a very solemn garden not far from where the Titan Atlas held the heavens upon his shoulders. To prevent strangers, especially the daughters of Atlas, from coming to her garden and taking the beautiful fruit, Hera assigned a dragon named Ladon to guard it. This dragon was never slept. His eyes were always wide open. To be even more careful, Hera also assigned the three nymphs known as the Hesperides, or the nymphs of the evening, to watch over the garden. But where was this garden located? Was it in the East Sea or the Sunset Sea? Was it in a hot desert or at the foot of snowy mountains? Many have told the story, but it seemed that no one had ever seen it. Hercules traveled from Europe to Asia to ask for directions, but no one knew. He had to go all the way to the far north where the river Eridanus flowed with waves and sounds all year long. Here the nymphs told him that he had to find the sea god Nereus in order to ask for directions. Along the way, there were many troublesome incidents. One day, while Hercules was on his way, he met a giant who was extremely strong and healthy. Hercules greeted him and asked for directions, but instead of being polite, the giant became arrogant and demanded that Hercules reveal his identity and challenged him to a fight. Annoyed, Hercules struck him with a club, and the giant could not withstand it and went to the realm of Hades immediately. But that was not the end of it. Ares, the god of war and the father of the belligerent giant, attacked Hercules to avenge his son, Sickness. Ares aimed a spear at Hercules, but the goddess Athena threw another spear at Ares, which pierced his thigh. Ares jumped up and roared, shaking the whole sky before running straight back to Olympus without thinking of revenge for his disobedient son anymore. Hercules found Nereus after searching for a long time. He saw the old silver-haired god sitting in meditation on the shore. Hercules rushed forward and grabbed the old man tightly, but that was not enough. This god of the sea was capable of changing into various forms. However, no matter what shape he took, Hercules never gave up. He clung to the old man until the very end, when the old man could no longer change into any other creature and had to give Hercules directions. Only then did Hercules release Nereus, son of the great sea god Poseidon. Hercules arrived in a new land, the country of Egypt. After a long and tiring journey, Hercules found a tree to sleep under. He fell asleep right on the banks of the Nile River. The king of Egypt, Busiris, saw Hercules, a stranger who had just arrived in the country, and decided to have him captured. The king ordered his soldiers to capture Hercules. Why did the king treat the stranger in such a strange way? The reason is as follows. King Busiris was the son of the sea god Poseidon and the goddess Lysianassa. Some say that the king was not the son of Poseidon, but the son of Aegyptos. Lysianassa was the daughter of the god Epiphos. The royal couple lived happily together and ruled a large and wealthy country that was respected by neighboring countries. But then something happened. The king came up with a terrible idea to capture the three Hesperides as his wives. The reason why they had the same name was because their mother was Hesperis. Busiris sent a group of fierce pirates to capture the three Hesperides. However, the king's actions were punished by the gods. The pirates could not set foot in the sacred garden. Disaster struck repeatedly along the way, and the army disbanded. Moreover, Zeus also punished them by causing a severe drought that lasted for 9 years. The people of Egypt suffered greatly from famine. King Busiris had no choice but to invite a famous prophet, Phrasios from Chypre, to come and interpret the prophecy. According to Phrasios, to appease Zeus and end the disasters, the king must sacrifice a foreigner every year. Following Phrasios's strict prophecy, King Busiris ordered his soldiers to capture the prophet and make him the first sacrifice to Zeus, starting a series of sacrifices. And now it was Hercules' turn. Hercules was brought to the altar. He struggled, broke the ropes that bound him, and punched Busiris, causing him to fall and die. The king's son, Amphidamas, tried to avenge his father but was also defeated by Hercules. Some people tell a different story. When Hercules arrived at the garden of the Hesperides, he encountered Busiris's band of robbers surrounding the garden. The situation was very dangerous. Hercules had to act quickly. He fought and defeated the robbers, and the Hesperides were grateful for his heroic actions. After hearing his request, they personally picked golden apples to give to him. After escaping from the sacrifice of King Busiris, Hercules continued his journey, facing many dangers and conflicts. Finally, he arrived in the Caucasus Mountains. Here, he accomplished a great feat that would go down in history. We probably haven't forgotten the story of Prometheus being punished by Zeus. On the rugged peak of a mountain in the Caucasus Range, Zeus had Prometheus bound to a rock, and every day a giant eagle with sharp claws and beak would come to eat his liver. But Prometheus's liver was immortal, just like the Titan Prometheus himself. So when the eagle ate his liver during the day, it would grow back at night, fresh and undamaged. Prometheus endured this torture bravely for centuries, but he still did not submit to Zeus. Hercules arrived. He saw the god and benefactor of mankind chained on the top of a high, rugged mountain and the birds circling around him. Perhaps now the giant eagle sent by Zeus was pecking at the liver of the god and benefactor of mankind. Hercules climbed to the top of the mountain. The pitiful and cruel scene was unfolding before his eyes. He didn't hesitate to shoot his bow and arrow. The giant eagle fell down to the ground. Hercules ran to cut the chains and free Prometheus. Prometheus embraced his newfound freedom with joy and gratitude, no longer bound to the desolate rock that had been his prison for so long. He expressed his gratitude to Hercules, who had freed him from his torment. However, he also informed the hero that he could not obtain the golden apples himself. This was a task that only the god Atlas could accomplish. Hercules made his way to the land of the Hesperides, where he encountered Atlas holding up the sky with his head bowed, exhausted and tired. Hercules approached the Titan and explained that he had been sent by King Eurystheus, favored by the goddess Hera, to obtain the golden apples from the forbidden garden guarded by the three Hesperides. Atlas, a Titan who had sided with the ancient gods known as the Titans against Zeus, expressed his willingness to help Hercules, despite the suffering Zeus had inflicted upon him. However, he also reminded Hercules of his own burden of holding up the sky and asked him to take over this task while he went to retrieve the golden apples. Atlas requested that Hercules place his shoulders under the sky for a moment to support it while he went on his mission. He promised to return with the golden apples that Hercules needed to complete his task. Hercules bore the weight of the heavens on his shoulders, while Atlas went to retrieve the 3 golden apples. The weight was unbearable, causing him immense pain and discomfort. His muscles were strained, and sweat poured from his body. Yet with the goddess Athena by his side, he stood strong and resolute until Atlas returned. Atlas approached Hercules and offered the golden apples, but he asked Hercules to let him take them to Eurystheus in Mycenae. Hercules sensed Atlas's intentions and asked for a moment to rest his weary shoulders before allowing Atlas to leave. Atlas agreed, and Hercules swiftly took the opportunity to relieve himself of the burden of the sky. He picked up the 3 golden apples and put them in his quiver. He then armed himself with his bow and arrow, sword and wooden club, bidding farewell to Atlas with respect. Hercules reminded Atlas that he would never deceive him. But could it be that he should shoulder the weight of the heavens to endure the punishment that Zeus had reserved for Atlas? Hercules returned to Mycenae. He had to dive deep into the water, cross the mountains, forests, and rivers to bring the golden apples back for Eurystheus. But Eurystheus did not know what to do with those apples. After thinking it over, he simply rejected Hercules. Hercules offered the golden apples to the goddess Athena to express his gratitude for her protection. Athena returned the 3 golden apples to the sacred garden guarded by the 3 Hesperides nymphs. No profane hands could touch the holy treasures of the gods. Thus, Hercules had to be a slave to Eurystheus for 12 years. But those 12 years of hardship and humiliation were also 12 years of glorious achievements that made the name of Hercules, the great hero, the son of Zeus, deeply engraved in the memory of generations. Today, in world literature, there is an idiom, strong as Hercules, or Herculean strength. The name Hercules has become a common noun or adjective referring to people with strong, healthy, and beautiful bodies, synonymous with strong men and heroes. The labors of Hercules, or the exploits of Hercules, have been extended to mean a task that requires extraordinary effort and perseverance to accomplish. From there, the meaning has been expanded to include extremely difficult and arduous tasks. Hercules' club symbolizes something intimate, something that cannot be separated from him, and at the same time, it also symbolizes a superior weapon, an optimal and effective means, in contrast to the opposite contrast. The pillars of Hercules means the ultimate limit, the ultimate level.